nonstop news said that a man died. It was a struggle with officers for a traffic stop, and a man died, and they said it was like another person in the car, and they had somebody else, and I'm just thinking in my mind, like, even though I'm seeing my brother dead on a gurney, lifeless body, I'm in my mind like, no, it ain't my brother, because I'm not trying to accept it. I literally, like, just fell to the floor. I remember my auntie screaming and crying because she could hear him saying, I was like, oh, my God, they killed him. She's like, what? We screaming, we crying. I remember throwing my phone, and I remember I don't know if I passed out. I just know my whole life, that whole tornado feeling that I explained to you, everything just turned around, shift. I was no longer there, and I just remember I didn't even want to live no more. I was just like, God, just take me. But then I remember the God in me said, you have work to do. Get up off that floor. And I was so mad at God. I'm not even going to lie. I was so mad. I'm like, God, how can you allow this? I said he wasn't a perfect man, but God, he honored you every Sunday with me in church. He turned his whole life completely around. He never killed nobody. Like, he was a good man. How could you allow this to happen? And God said to me, the God in me said, he did not suffer. That's why I let you feel that pain. I took my king graciously because you have work to do. We all going to leave this place one day, but I guarantee you Tyrone West is not going to go down in vain. His name is not going to be in vain, and it's going to be something big attached to that that's going to change things. You got work to do. Get up off that floor. And I just was like, oh, my God. And then I got up, and I started asking for forgiveness. By then I had already put a post on Facebook saying that I wanted to die. They just killed my brother. And everybody started, like, chiming in, and I don't remember even seeing them. And I just remember my brother being up literally all night like a zombie. My whole world was just like numb, just like gone, like, oh my God. And I remember when my family members half of them went down a homicide, and they left me in there. And I remember when they were on the phone with me via three-way, and they were saying that the detectives here said that they wanted to meet us tomorrow at one of our houses or whatever, giving them an address. And I remember talking directly to the detective, and I remember him saying, oh, I'm like, why can't y'all see us tonight? What's going on? Why didn't y'all call me? He had my vehicle, everything about me, even if you don't know his ID. He had his ID on him. I said he just paid for my food with his credit card. He had to show ID because he wrote on the back of his credit card, do not, like when you signed it, nobody can sign nothing without you showing your ID. On his credit card, it says show ID. And he showed his ID. So I'm like, I know he had his father. Like, what do you mean? It's a John Doe. What the hell are you talking about? We can come out there. Like, what are you talking about? And they was like, well, we can't get into the details. We just need to meet with you tomorrow. And then when they told me, they said, look, calm down. They said, we're dealing with some community violence. They said a young lady, a 16-year-old, just got a throat slash. It was a double homicide. It was a suicide murder. Somebody killed her and then killed themselves. My heart just instantly went out. And at that moment, I could turn my own pain down because I'm like, oh, my God, I'm not the only one in pain, even though for people that's supposed to serve and protect just took my brother's life. Like, oh, my God, somebody's daughter just got murdered. Like, oh, my God, like, I'm a mother. I got two daughters. I got two sons. Like, okay, and I'm like, I'm actually apologizing to the detective now because my humbleness kicked in, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, well, you can come meet at my house tomorrow at noon, gave my address type of thing. They're like, okay, thank you, and we'll definitely be there. So then, get this, so I got no sleep. Literally, to speed the story up, they come in, they got a house Negro, and they got three white detectives that walk in. The white detectives not saying nothing. They let the house Negro lead the way, and he's talking. His name is I'm sorry. Wait a minute, I can't. Oh, my goodness. So it was a Detective Delgado. He was a white detective. Then there was we called him, oh my goodness, Lieutenant Colonel Russell. And everybody always think of him in the black community as, oh, he's a hero because he goes out, he does this, he's a pastor of a church, and he goes and he does so much for the community. Well, they don't know the dark side of him. The dark side of him, and I call you a house Negro, if you're going to come into a black family's house, say the same damn thing when they kill unarmed men and women and talk the family down when they ask basic questions like, why the hell didn't you call us type of thing, this, that, and the third, and then you want to break out into a prayer, and then you want to start praying. But anyway, long story short, when they walked in, this is 12 o'clock, they said, well, look, he said, Miss Jones, we're sorry about your loss, blase, and then they try to attempt to tell us this bullcrap story. They're like, your brother, Tyrone West, we're so sorry. He's at the city morgue. They're going to do his autopsy around 2:30 today. Mind you, they didn't even do his autopsy yet as these lying, stinking detectives are in my family home. And I'm like, why didn't y'all call me? My brother had this idea. They was like, well, no, he goes under so many aliases. We had to run his fingerprints. This is not like CSI that you see on TV. We do it totally different. We want to tell you. And then it was like we wanted to do this, and we had to get a search warrant to search your vehicle to make sure it wasn't like no other dead bodies or anything in your car. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, first of all, you're lying. I said, because I saw my vehicle, my green Mercedes-Benz, on the knees with my brother's body on the gurney. Y'all was raffling all through my trunk of my car. I saw that. And I know my brother didn't give consent. So he would never give nobody consent to search my car. He would have said, call my sister. He definitely would have requested me. So I know that you guys did some dirty shit. You know, dirty stuff. And I'm telling them this, long story short, and then at the same time, I'm like, let me record them. I'm like, I don't know why my family was like, no, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, man, I ain't got nothing to lose. They did the worst when they killed my brother. I'm recording them. I'm being transparent to make sure they won't say nothing wrong. I won't say nothing wrong type of thing. So I started recording them. As I got my phone recording them, I still got the message of them lying. Said, well, look, this is what we're going to do. They said his body's going to be worked on at 2:30 this afternoon. And they said after his autopsy, they said, we just want to make sure. They said, did Mr. West have any health issues? I'm like, oh, no, he had no health issues. I'm like, because he just got an interview for his job. I said, matter of fact, they just moved him to a different department. He got a promotion, and they just did a healthy physical. I took him to his physical 2 weeks ago. Oh, I said, do you want that? I'm like, do you want that? He was definitely healthy. Oh, no, we don't need that. We don't want that. And I'm like, well, and they was like, well, we just want to make sure we're not going to leave no stone unturned. We're going to make sure that all the chips fall where they may. We want to make sure Mr. West didn't have any heart issues. We want to make sure that the weather, because it was real hot on yesterday. We want to make sure that the weather didn't contribute to Mr. West. So it's so much stuff. And trust me, if anybody did any foul play, we're going to hold them accountable. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And the crazy part, it took them 5 months, my brother, to give us a bullcrap autopsy report that basically lied and said my brother died from dehydration and a bad heart. Like, are you kidding me? So they
right. So it took them that long to come up with some type of fake excuse to cover up basically what actually transpired, what happened.
And not only that, speaking of cover up, so mind you, his autopsy was done on the 19th. And literally, his daughter paid for his whole entire funeral. Bless her heart. We had the funeral of our choice. We told them to go pick up my brother. They called us back. They called me like, hey, because I was the contact person. They're like, Miss Jones, well, we went to go get your brother's body, but we heard some crazy stuff. I said, what crazy stuff? They're not going to release his body because it's the weekend. I'm like, well, have you all ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of such? And they're like, well, no, we didn't, but, they're going to release it. Mind you, they took 5 days to release my brother's body. 5 days they hid his body because what, in my opinion, they tried to reconstruct his face because they probably beat him to the point that literally, so my family organized. So after the lying detectives left our family home, immediately we're like, we can ready to get some criminal charges. We heard all the witnesses on the news, sobbing witness saying how they beat my brother from one side of the street to the next, how my brother dying words was Trayvon Martin, help me. So you know that sparks everything off of me, because that was the last conversation about the George Zimmerman's being on every corner, and I can only imagine why he was getting his life beat, pepper spray, tased out of him by 11 to 15 maniacs. And the crazy part, the first two that pulled my brother over, Officer Ruiz and Officer Killer Chapman, they literally, 24 hours, there was another victim named Darrell Harris. They tried to kill him, but this brother got the person in his car to call 911 for a supervisor, and that's what saved Darrell's life. Then I found out, because immediately I started something called West Wednesday, and it was named in honor of my brother, and it's been going on. We just was out there yesterday. We went out there for 345 weeks. 345 weeks, not days, but weeks, out there nonstop on the ground. And there was a opening that I set up, my family set up, for all the victims of police brutality, because these are not isolated incidents. It's systemically happening, and it's happening all around the world. So literally with our West Wednesday, we were able to meet other victims of these same first two unmarked. And then I was told from the beginning that the first two killer cops, Ruiz and Chapman, was a part of the elite gun trace task force that literally killed Detective Suter here in our city. It was an officer named Detective Suter that was murdered by his own, in our opinion. It's supposed to be investigated, but I don't believe none of their phony investigations, because it always leads back to the officers act within reason. They didn't do anything wrong, and there's another black or brown body just gone. And the crazy part, literally, so to jump into it more, I actually took $50,000 of my own money. Mind you, I don't have that much of money. I'm a teacher. I'm not a doctor. I don't make that much. But to me, it's not about the income. It's about the outcome. That's why I teach. I love the little ones. I can teach all the way up to 12th grade. I choose the pre-K, kindergarten, preschool type of thing, because I love the babies. But nevertheless, I got my brother's body exhumed, and literally everything that we knew was true. My brother was murdered, because even before, what made me get my brother's body exhumed, it took them 5 months to give us a bullcrap autopsy report. And literally somebody, a news reporter, had called me the day that they was going to announce my brother's autopsy, and she said, you know what, I got a leak from the medical examiner's office. You were right, sis, your brother was murdered. He died from positional asphyxiation. She said he died from positional asphyxiation. I'm like, oh, wow, thanks, sis, for...
So they choked him, basically.
Yeah, but
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second, Tawanda. We're going to take a quick break. Hold on 1 second. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to our show. We are live and on the air with Sister Tawanda Jones. She is the sister of the related Brother Tyrone West, who was murdered by Baltimore Police Department. And we're going to go to the phone lines. I think we got some callers on the line. Those that are interested in asking Sister Tawanda or myself questions, or you want some answers, we're coming to the phone lines. I think we got Mama AZ. We're going to come to you first. Mama AZ, is that you?
Yes, sir. It is. I'm here, and I'm
welcome.
Sending out. Thank you for having me. I'm sending out notifications to others to chime in to the show as well. I'm listening because I'd never heard this before, and I'm listening. And sister, you have my condolences. I feel your heart. I feel your spirit, and there's so much that's going on all over this planet. And every Thursday, I want to say to the listening audience that this is Mama Bonfire calling you from the last historic site of the Buffalo Soldiers here in Fort Naco, Arizona, Fort Huachuca. I'm sure many people know about the history somewhat of the Buffalo Soldiers, but I want to say this, baby. Every other Thursday, not today, but next Thursday, we have a prayer line. And if I will share the number with Brother Kenya, and he could share it with you. You can call in. It's 15 to 30 minutes, and you can call in, baby, and just have prayer.
You can share the number, Mama Easy.
Okay,
you can
I don't
share it
have
online.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll send it to you.
Can you give me 1 second? I'm getting the ink pen.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'll share it. Okay, all right. But anyway, every Thursday at 7 o'clock, probably your time, because it's coming out of Florida. I'll put you on notice.